talk today about assigning value to things, situations, challenges, confrontations, insults against you, things that you pursue in life. Do we assign the proper value to all of these things and these situations and these occurrences? I was having dinner with my bride the other night, and we were at the restaurant and just having a fabulous conversation, a deep conversation. And I asked her the question. We've been married now 24 years. I said, tell me 3 things you've learned in the last 24 years. And mind-blowing. The woman just, constantly blows my mind. But in the conversation, she said something to the effect of, I just don't get as riled up about things like I used to. We're 24 years older than we were when we got married, and more mature, time in a parish, time in life, time as parents, all that stuff, contributes to the maturation process. But when she said that, it made me respond and think in my own mind. I said, yeah, it's because we don't assign the same value to things that we used to. So in other words, if someone said, a misspoken word against me, she would take it personally because I'm her husband, and I would take it personally because who the hell are you? I'm the best guy ever, all that kind of stuff. But over time, we've started to realize that misspoken word, though it may be offensive and even sometimes hurtful, there's no value in it because I am not going to assign value to it, right? I am not going to give credit where credit is not due. Does that make sense? And so I've learned over the last few years, and perhaps many more than just the last few, but I've been learning, and I know that I will continue to learn, that we have a choice as warrior saints to assign value to all of the situations and things and occurrences that happen in our lives. And most of those, the things out there are calling out to us to assign to them great value. Let me say that again. Most of the things that we confront, whether it be in the news sources or the TV or our socials or wherever we're, communicating with other human beings, most of the things are reaching out, trying to get our attention with as much noise as they can to have us assign great value to them. Now, if you think about it, that's a smart thing because when there's value, you purchase it, right? When there's value, you read it. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is what happens. And so everything is screaming, hey, shiny, shiny, look at me, give me attention. And the truth of the matter is, I think in my last few years, I've really come to know this. Very few things are of great value. And that I don't want my mind to conform to the value system of the world out there, because that's chaotic, right? This. We talk about it all the time. The biggest, baddest monster that all of us face right now is the chaos that's out there. The devil uses division to sow this chaos, and we're all consumed by it, and I don't want to submit to that mindset. I don't want my mind to conform to that. I want it to think differently. And to do that, I have to recognize that really very few things are of value, right? People matter. The situations that we confront, the things that we have in life, the places we go, all of that it matters. I'm not saying that it doesn't. I'm saying assign the proper value. St. Paul gives us kind of an insight into this. In Romans chapter 12, at the outset of that chapter, he says, he's talking about the mind. He says, do not be conformed to the world, but be transformed. And really the Greek word is metamorphosis, like transfigured, like the way a butterfly is transfigured, a caterpillar to a butterfly. It's the same word. Do not be conformed to the world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, so that God will see the good things that you are doing, or you give, how does he say it? What is good and acceptable, right? Like Paul is telling us, do not let your mind be swept away by the current of the world, right? Like much like you think about salmon. He's laughing at me. Like it's a funny analogy, but you think about it. Salmon that are living, they swim upstream to go breed, right? They're fighting against the current. But when that fish dies, it's swept away with the current and it's washed down into the lower regions of the mountain. Does that make sense? We're supposed to be like the salmon. We're supposed to strive against the stream of the mainstream, right? And to think with warrior saint mindsets, to be crucifixional. That's the long and short of it. And to do that, I think one of the first steps is that we have to learn how to assign proper value to things, to situations, to occurrences, to words, and all the rest. Now, pretty easy for me in 5 minutes to get up here in front of you all and say those words. pretty hard for all of us to do it. And sometimes we don't know how to do that. Like sometimes we get lost in that chaos about, all right, how am I going to be able to have my mind transformed, renewed, so that I can look at things and assign them the proper value. To do that, maybe it's important that we find a little bit of help. And this is exactly what we have been working on at the Warrior Saints movement. We've got a new lesson that's coming up, going to be launched in just probably the next few days. And it's going to be called exactly that, assigning the proper value. When you visit warriorsaints.org and you scroll down, subscribe to The Way of the Warrior Saint. This is our on-demand library. You're going to see shortly one of the there's a million lessons already, but we're going to add a new lesson about assigning the proper value. And when you watch this video, you are going to hear, not from me, but from God himself, about how to deal with things, how to look at things properly, so that, some of that stress that goes with it and that conformity rather, to the world's mindset can kind of slip aside. Then we can put ourselves in position to start acting crucifixionally, to start the path, the journey towards becoming a warrior saint. And when we do that, I promise you, here's the good news. Like, if you don't do it and you don't watch this video, you're going to get stuck with it, right? You're going to continue to suffer with all this stuff that is improperly assigned value. But if you watch that lesson and if you participate, I'm telling you, not because it's from me, but because it's from the giver of life himself, you're going to notice that transformation that Paul is calling us towards. You're going to be, in some real sense, the same man or woman who's a totally different man or woman, because you are now assigning value where it's necessary and not giving value where it's not. The changes that can make in your life are, I'm just telling you this from my own experience as I've matured in that. It's a home run, and I want it for you guys too. It's very simple. warriorsaints.org. Subscribe. That video's coming. You can watch all the rest in the meantime. We are going to be back tomorrow to conclude the week. Love you, beautiful people. As always, keep walking in the way of the Warrior Saint.